Hey everybody, I'm glad to welcome Daman for the first bank talk when we are resuming the bank talk. I remember that in the last bank talk that she was on level at that time and she was asking the questions to Jeet, I think, right? Who had come from India. Um, First thing that I am really glad that Daman has proved me wrong. I have been shouting at top of my voice that someone don't go for data science positions, go for software engineering positions. It is very tough to get into data science positions. But not only she has got a great company, she has punched really nicely uh, for getting this job, and you have performed extra. I'm still really inspired the way that you have gone through things, especially given your little experience that you have. So I'm really happy that you proved me wrong. Data science roles are still very tough to get here. I won't recommend to every student, but it's every now and then there is a passionate student like you who comes in and who proves that it can be done. All right, guys. That's it. That's the initial introduction that I wanted to give regarding from my perspective about Daman. But Daman, if you can introduce about yourself a little bit, what you do in a couple of sentences, then it would be really great for us.
Okay. Yeah. Hi everyone. First of all, I'm like a normal person like you. Just like this business introduced, I was told to follow like the software engineering path, and I'm also from a software engineering background. So I completed my undergrad in like 2015 and worked as a software engineer for around close to 3 years. And before moving here, I had never like touched data science. I just had like a thing for mathematics. So I knew like the path that would blend both maths and computer science is like data science. So I chose that path in my master's and pursuing that for 2 years. Towards the end, since it was COVID and there was no jobs, I wasn't really getting any calls. So that was a major like reason why I chose I would probably just start applying for software engineering jobs as well. I was told to do that by the semester, so I started applying to a few of them, but I was still very picky about the jobs I wanted even during that time because I still wanted somewhere like it, the software engineering jobs which would still require ML experience. So yeah, that's all about my journey. Like I was just applying to job, not getting calls, but I got this call. This was my first on-site, but I think I was well prepared by this time, so I just was able to. Yeah, so yeah.
All right. So talk about your interview experience. What was the round? If you can go into the details without touching upon the kind of the exact problems you were asked, but what was first round, second round, and who were your interviewers? All the names, but what were their positions in the company? And talk about two good things that you did in these rounds and two things which were really challenging for you.
So starting from the first round, which was like for my on-site round. So the first introduction round that we had was basically that involved that touched every aspect of data science plus software. So they asked me like one coding question based on stats, then one coding question based on probability. So that was like you had to code it basically the probability thing, and then there were data science questions, of course, since I'm from a deep learning background, so they went into the depth of like deep learning, like the core concepts that everyone should know. Then, yeah, apart from that, it's mostly scenario-based question because machine learning is basically you want to know like how good you are with like training the models, how well you know how your training is going. So all those aspects they touched upon.
So,
That was my
go ahead, son. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. And the interview with my first round was actually like I think he was the manager of one of the teams in AI platform.
Got it. So what preparation you did? I know, yeah, you must have been really good at coding. You had completed. You were one of the shiniest students in my batch at that time. So data structures and algorithms, you must be really prepared. But what all things you would recommend to our students who are, what kind of projects they should be doing in deep data science? What kind of, when you say basics, that okay, what kind of basics that they should be very clear, and how to check whether these basics are clear, right? The way we did that in data structures and algorithms, we have a quality control that okay, we are doing the mock exercise, right, every weekend. So how did you make sure that to ensure that quality of work that you are putting in data science?
So I think this is where my the like having that I have this kind of OCD sort of thing, like where I need to go into the depth of every topic. Like if I'm working on stats, I need to know like completely what like how stats functions in the so that's an issue with me. Like people like to touch a base upon, but I like to go into the depth of the topic. So that helps really. So like I will just take an example of another interview that I gave. So so one of the internship interview that I gave, so they asked me a question based on like the concept called batch normalization, and they asked everything related to it, like how it functions mathematically and like how it would differ like in your testing time and training time, and how this would be applied in another scenario. So that kind of thing you can be only be prepared if you know the basics very well, like if you've studied maths behind it. So that's my background because I was into deep learning, so they want to know whether you know the basic concepts of deep learning. So if there is another person in machine learning, they would want to basically go with the concepts of machine learning.
Interesting. And what kind of projects you had done for deep learning?
So my work has mostly been in computer vision. I have not, frankly speaking, like I've seen resumes in the channels and people have very good work. One issue that I've really noticed amongst all the people and where I think I prepared well was I went through my resume very well. Like I knew everything that there was in my resume. And I noticed like 2 out of the 4 rounds that I had on my on-site interview was a discussion on my resume. And like 15 minutes, they were like completely impressed because I knew like my resume very well.
That's a great tip, Daman. I'm glad that you. Whenever I'm looking at the resumes at that time only, I find it out that the student has not done what he or she is claiming, and it is very off-putting. If something, even if it is small and they have done it, uh, it is highly impressive. It's not about the big name of the title, but um, that's a great tip that you gave us. What are the mistakes that you did in your? We will be coming to the human aspect of it, but on the technical aspect, in your interview preparation or in general in the interviews, what was the kind of repeated mistakes that you will tell Chandru or Suresh not to do?
So I feel the mistake that I made earlier on was actually that helped me in Microsoft because I improved upon those. So the mistake that I made was actually not going to my resume. Like that was the biggest thing. Like I know what's happening in the back. Like I know the architecture, but I need to know everything about the architecture. This is the layer being used. If we talk about like I'm just taking an example out of one of the architecture. So if they say this is they're using transpose convolution, you should know everything about transpose convolution. The interviewer can just ask you to draw the architecture and you should be so confident that you can just draw the architecture. So that's one big thing. Second mistake that I made was not going through the computer science basics. Like in one of my interviews, they asked me like about what's the difference between process and test, and I was like, okay, I know the difference, but I don't know how to explain it. Okay, what's the difference between like different multi-threading, multi-processing? So I know the differences, but I don't know how to articulate it because I had not studied it at that time. So not only knowing like algorithms for data science, they want to touch upon every topic. Like they will touch upon computer science basic, language specific questions, data science related questions, machine learning scenario based questions, and your programming questions. So you should know all aspects of it, cover everything.
But I found your communication to be really precise and articulate in the classes and even after that. So is this before study or after?
So this was actually with the rest of.
I thought you were an interview and you were pretty articulate in the classes and after that, right? I was getting messages from the students that okay, I love the interview with her. So all right. Let's come to the human aspect of it, right? You mentioned that you had you were not getting the calls apparently, even if you are best of the networking technique that you're I know you have been talking to a lot of our mentors that we were talking. But how did you how do you one is the technical aspect. How do you handle the human aspect of it? What would be your recommendations to boost the morale of the students?
I've been trying to look for, like, I was very stubborn. Like, I'm still very stubborn on what I need is what I need. Like, I can't compromise on that. So that's the major thing I think where I lack a lot because sometimes you need to give up also. So during the COVID period, like, especially because there were few people hiring, also I was very stubborn on what I needed. I was getting even less calls. So I would say be a little flexible sometimes. I started being a little flexible and starting seeing that hope. Second thing would be don't lose faith on what you want to do and who you are. Like that's a very important thing. Like just just believe on what you know well, trust your own skills, and this it might take a year, but it will happen for you. Like it will surely happen. So somewhere down the line, I feel I was starting to lose hope somewhere. But as soon as I got back that hope, I started seeing the light, and I actually started getting chances. Like people, like I instead of thinking that like I'm not going to get this or I'm regretting all that, I started like just applying. I was like, okay, do everything now. I just want to apply and get something now. So take it as a challenge. It might take a long time, but it will probably happen.
Got it. So I recommended that you should be going for Google right away. So what after this offer? Now you have got this offer. What are the plans? We have a lot of students who already have the offers and they are sitting in the audience right now. Right? Some of them are already experienced. So what after this?
Frankly, like I just want to stay for a while before I join. So I'm just taking time to like relax and like complete my thesis and get done with things.
Right. Does being in your school did make a difference that okay, yeah, I know at the data science institute Microsoft might not have taken most lot of skills from your school. So what were there are inherent handicaps. There are inherent handicaps. So how did you handle those handicaps? Were they deep disadvantages or they are totally unrelated? A lot of students think that okay, they need to be in a specific school to be in this thing. So,
I don't think so. Actually, my school is quite famous for like machine learning and like data science. So we are less famous for software engineering and more famous for research happening in like ML. So that way, it's not a problem. And also I've noticed like there's a notion among people, like even with the startup that I'm working with, they didn't have any idea about my school, like not much idea about my school, and they were like, okay, we didn't like. Usually they hire people directly, but they offer me an internship before they could offer me a full-time position, even after like interviewing and me performing well in the interviews. They were like, okay, we want to test you for a while and then we see. I've not heard about your school a lot, but with Microsoft, I didn't think that was any problem.
All right. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Shantanu has a great question. Shantanu, can you go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question?
Yeah, so the question is, I often hear that the coding question is like you just write a machine learning algorithm from scratch in Python, like write for neural network. Are they very common, or it's just I'm hearing from people?
So it depends. I actually also interviewed for some of the positions in India because I wanted to I was so stubborn that I just need this. I was about to go back to get my data science job there. So when I interviewed there, I had to actually like write down neural network code from scratch, and like they asked me to code like a 2-layer neural network. In one of another interview, they gave me a take-home assignment where I had to like work on a model and like improve certain things upon it. But in this interview, I was not asked these kind of questions. These were like mostly since it was a entry level position, I guess. So maybe they didn't ask too much into the depth of like they didn't go into the depth of like coding a neural network, but yeah, just algorithms questions. So it all depends on your interest.
Got it. Who are your mentors throughout this data science journey?
So my professor, like Dr. V.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
That I was just saying he's a computer vision research. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Anybody else? I'm opening up the questions for the audience. Anybody wants to ask questions? No personal questions, please, but any other questions about the experience?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I have a question. So, like, is it always sometimes when they ask you for a very hard algorithm, you might have not touched that kind of a situation, or you might not have been exposed to that kind of an algorithm. So, is it always about execution, or in such cases, pseudocode is something good enough, or what is it like? Is it like on the dot execution is required in an optimized way, or what is the best approach?
Okay. So this is just what I experienced actually in my last one. So based on my last one, I was not sure whether I would get this offer because I could not complete my last coding question. And my last coding question, I was allotted like half an hour, and I could just come up with the approach. But one good thing was even after like half an hour, my interviewer was completely engaged in what I was doing. So that's what I always recommend my like whoever I interview and like explain your problem well. Like the interviewer should be so engaged that even if they're doing something, they should get distracted and come back to you because you're talking to them continuously. So I didn't complete that question. I just came up with a solution at the end of like half an hour, but they were fine with it. Like my interviewer was like, okay, this is good. Like his reaction was like such that this is good, and he asked me question and I asked him questions before the session ended. So like I had a positive response from him, but still there was this doubt. But yeah, I was able to grab him.
Can I add something over here, please, Priya? So, I was talking to Archit. Archit was in the present December batch. He is still in the present December batch. Now he has joined Amazon, and everybody says that okay, 3 rounds Amazon is a very tough interview. It was a tough interview, and Archit was so motivated. I was so pushing him so hard that even in the virtual interview, he was using a whiteboard like this one, and he told me that he could not he didn't complete two of the problems out of it. You know, 3 rounds. Right? He didn't complete two of the things, and he said that okay, even after the interview, it was just over. The interview told me that you killed it on the whiteboard in the approach itself. Right? You didn't have to vote for us to hire you. You are among the selected candidates among 210, right? He's the kind of team that he is going into. So what we discuss in the class is absolutely this thing. We should be killing it in the algorithm in the approach, right? Then the coding part comes. If the approach is good, then actually we're going to see. That's a great question, Priya. Thank you so much for it. Anshul, the next question is yours.
So I just wanted to ask that, okay, so you focus mostly on deep learning, right? But when it comes to data science tools, I mean, the requirements are often like all over the place. I mean, they ask for cloud technologies, like even MLOps, they Hadoop, the ecosystem, then like obviously deep learning, machine learning, then they also go into statistics. And it's a lot really for someone like applying at an entry-level position, right? So like, I mean, either I can like learn one or two topics very well, or I can try to like learn those things, but like not that well, right? I mean, some of these technologies like they are like very difficult to grasp using just storage. To have the real experience. So what do you think about that? Like, what was your experience? And like, did you interview for like more than one companies? Do they ask this area of questions or like just only focus on what you know?
Based on my experience, they will question you based on what you know, like what is there in your resume. So even if you write a keyword, so I wrote like I know the language C++. So they would ask you questions based on that because that is there in your resume. They don't want you to know everything. Nobody can know everything. That's like that was a mistake I made. I used to think like, oh, I don't know this. Let me try AWS. I did everything. But at the end of the day, what I learned out of the interview was they don't want you to know everything. They want you to know what you have done. And what you have done, you should know it well. Because that's how if you know what you have done, that means you can apply, like you can learn different things and apply it to another problem. But if you don't know what you have done, then it's like a red signal for them because this is like okay, this person must have like copied from internet and did something. But yeah, it's not a norm that you should know everything. And um, based on my interview experiences in data science, I would say like if you are if you are in machine learning or you're in deep learning, so you should not like you shouldn't be focusing on like Hadoop and all those things. Like if you're using a project, it's good, but otherwise don't especially go and learn it just for the sake of a job. Look for a job which will fit your need. Don't go and fit for the job's need. Like otherwise you won't find that happiness or like at least for my me like it's that way. Like what I want to work on is not something what they like would offer me. Like it should be both ways, right? Like I should be happy with the kind of work I want to do.
That's amazing. All right, so this is from Kulika. Daman, do you want a break in between? Do you want to grab some water?
No.
Just let me know if you want. Okay, just let me know. Kulika, go ahead. Kulika has just joined us today. She has just landed her first class March cohort. Kulika, go ahead. You have an amazing question.
So I have a background which is different from data science. I do not even belong to a software engineering background, and my work experience has been mostly into product management with startups back in India for 3 years. Now I'm looking for data science positions, and I'm completely switching gears to like software roles and like data science is my concentration for my master's. So how much of my previous experience is going to impact my data science roles for the entry level?
Okay, that's a very good question because even I switched gears. Like, okay, I can say this is somewhat related to this coding, but like, when it's all about what you learn in the next 2 years. Like, if you can even do like 2 good projects and like show that passion, that you have that passion and you want to do this, like that will reflect in the kind of work you do, right? So if you can show that and like show those things in your resume and convince the interviewer that this is good, then you're through. Like it's just about like getting that part. So yeah, I don't think that prior experience does help, but it does not. It's not the only thing. Like if you can do it now, you can just be good with it.
But Punika, it's going to be really hard. It is going to be. Someone has been passionate about data science, and I was telling her that you don't try to switch gears. Play it safe. I'm glad, but keep a mindful of this thing that it is going to be incredibly hard. But if you are driven, you can move the mountains the way she is. All right, the next question is from Kapish. Kapish, that's a good question. Go ahead, please ask it.
So my question is, like, apart from knowing the basics of deep learning and machine learning, how important is it to know like end-to-end flow of a machine learning application? Like, do you need to know the ETL pipeline? Do you need to know how you are going to deploy it? Like, do you get these kind of questions in the interview? Because I have seen most job descriptions, they define like you should know these things apart from the basic concepts as well.
Okay. Again, going back to the same point that even I thought this was important. Depends on what kind of job you want to do. Do you want to work at ML ops? You would want to know these things. If you want to work as an ML engineer, you would want to know these things. But if you want to work as a deep learning scientist, you don't need these things. You don't need to know these things prior to the job. You can learn all these things on the job, or you can like at least convince your interviewer to like just tell them I worked on, if they see your software background and like other stuff, they will know, okay, this person has diverse experience and knows things, so they can learn all these things on the job. One thing that I did towards the end of job search, which really helped me was I didn't put bulk applications. I chose my jobs, like choose the things that suit you well and convince the other person that you're the good fit for the job. So I felt after a while that bulk application was just a waste of time because I was spending half an hour doing something which probably I won't even like as an do.
Shantanu is asking, did anybody ask you SQL queries?
Oh yeah, they did.
Did you? In Microsoft?
In Microsoft also, yeah.
It's very common.
Pretty common? That's amazing.
Yeah. One, like normal. You know the basics, yeah. Good.
Any system design part?
No.
All right. Anybody else? Any other questions? Daman, do you want to touch upon some of the things that that you want to tell the students that okay, this should be done?
I can actually give the tips that I give in like all the interviews. So
which interviews? You are talking about the mock interviews that you take it as that.
that I take. So like as a
Thank you so much for being on the mock interview. Now you can.
okay. So there are few things that I have few things that I've noticed me doing and which have worked well for me. So one of the major things that I've noticed is like whenever you practice in your even if you're practicing alone or with somebody, make sure that you're practicing on the whiteboard and explaining it out loud. Because you should be in the habit of just start talking immediately as soon as you understand the question. It's very important for you to communicate your thought and the interviewer to give you the hint. So if you communicate your thoughts early on, they will give you the hints early on. It's very important for them to know where you're going, right? Where you're heading. So this was one of the interview tips I got in my mock interviews, and I followed it to the in all my practice interviews also. Like if I'm working alone also, I do this the same. Second thing is when you code, again, same thing. Like just like if the sir is typing something, he makes sure that he's telling you why he's writing this step, right? So make sure that you're saying that out loud. Like, okay, I am creating this tag here which will store this particular thing. Or I'm like, why am I writing this step? Like everything again you should explain. So I think that something that has worked for me is explaining my problem with the help of test cases. So I take a test case and I always walk through the problem. Like after I've written my code, I write down in comments on like corresponding to the line, okay, this is the status of my variable at this particular time. So that helps me debug the problem. And as soon as I see a bug, I can clearly like eliminate it right away. Because now I've taken like 4 examples. I take all the edge cases also and walk through my problem. And once I've done those 4 examples, I'm pretty confident. I just have hit the submit and this is done. Like there's no going back and checking why this is not running or not, why this will run or not. So major like thing that I see, common mistake that I see during the interviews is like what students just assume that this is going to run, right? Like this is a loop which will do this and this will happen at the end of the day. No, don't assume anything because there could be a small mistake that you might have been used, like just typing also. So make sure that you run through the problem and at least in my case, like at the end of the day, I saw like the interviewers' response and they were like all smiling at this front. Like after that, they were like pretty confident that this would run. So you should gain that confidence of the interviewer.
Those are amazing then. All right, anybody else? Any other questions? So come on.
So,
Right. Go ahead, right?
so how important is to know the architecture and design aspect of your project? And the second thing is that like if the interview is coming into like a charging bull, how can I divert its attention using the website? Like to bring him to my area, like the stuff that I know, like how can I make him ask the stuff that I know instead of like all other things that I don't know.
Okay. First of all, you shouldn't have anything that you don't know on your resume. That's what I said. Like, you shouldn't give them a chance because interviewers are smart. They know like what students are trying to do here. But yeah, there is still some strategy. So like one strategy that a friend of mine told me, and I have tried it like while giving a mock interview to him, like for my resume mock interview I gave, and so like even if you want interviewer to like jump up on something, use keywords related to it. Like if I want them to ask me questions, suppose I don't know what a started convolution is, and I want them to know like ask me based on like question based on something related to that or like batch normalization, I would purposely induce keywords that I use this in my project, and uh, that's what I noticed. Like they would ask a question based on like what you say, like so if you use a keyword repetitively, they will just ask a question based on that. Apart from that, apart from that, I'll just say like don't write anything that you don't know. Like don't fake it.
Absolutely. You don't, it is very off-putting and the interviewer knows it's someone has been an interviewer, right? We have a lot of mock interviewers who are here. Within first 15 seconds, the side the student doesn't know and he is just talking bull crap over there. That is very off-putting. The better thing to do over there is I might not be knowing these things, but I will be, I would love to have your perspective of this so that it is beneficial for me in the future career or future interviews. Right? So be honest about it. You don't need to prove good to everybody. No? Don't try to have this kind of thing. And mostly, since you are going to join MS. Right now you are in India. So in India, the interviewers are grilling. In US, they are more friendly now, and everybody wants you to succeed, right? So it is just they are talking to you and they are trying to calibrate whether you are a good fit, whether you know what you're and you're not a paid person. But so I think Daman rightly said it. So that is there. Does that answer your question, Sai?
Yeah, I just wanted like instead of a individual aspect, if I know design or graphics part
Yeah.
of my college more,
Yeah.
can I divert them towards that? That's what I wanted to ask you.
So a good thing, good strategy would be writing down your responsibilities on what you did in your project. So if it's a group project and maybe you're not doing the model, but you have worked on the design part of it, you can like simply mention that instead of a project, you can mention the heading as group project and write down what your responsibilities were and what you contributed to the project instead of like highlighting the whole project.
All right. Awesome. Anybody else? Any other questions? Let me see.
I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
So you have mentioned that there are other concepts like like multi-threading. Those were all also important in your interview. So and this is something that we know in our back of our mind, right? But during the interviews, we wanted to again touch base, like like a course or a quick study, so that we are feeling very confident while we are answering those questions. So is there any suggestions like what kind of preparations for that specifically? So apart from our domain and apart from the data structures, what are all the materials that you touch base?
So for me, like I asked Microsoft what are the questions, what are topics that I can expect at least. So they gave me a booklet and they were like, prepare everything that's there inside it. So it had SQL, it had like machine learning-based questions, algorithm-based questions. So I knew this is what I could expect. But again, like as a computer science student, they would expect you to know at least the operating system part. If you've written down that you know Java, they would expect you to know like Java syntax, right? Like at least what are virtual classes or something like that. So not every interviewer asks it, but like there might be some interviews who might be interested in knowing like what are your language specific skills. So, and I mean, it's all about everything and anything there is in everything. Just by how.
Just a moment. Guys, somebody, okay, you not mute, like we mute everybody else first. Daman, you can unmute yourself now. All right, because there was some echo. Does that answer your question, Savita?
Yes, sir, pretty much. And also I have one follow-up question. So when you go for interview, so you started applying for companies and then you suddenly get a call from a recruiter or like unexpected. So you haven't prepared for that position or at least you need some time for preparation. Is it something that we can convey to them politely saying that, like I need some more time to just, get prepared for those interviews and then, like, is that considered a good thing according to the interviewers? How it is perceived from their side?
Yeah, so it depends on like whoever is arranging the interviews and how early they want to interview the candidates. But for me, I actually prepared for 4 days, like before my interview. I didn't prepare for too long. But again, like they some of them they would say they want to arrange within this week. Some would give you more time based on how like things are at their end. I would recommend like don't wait for the interview calls. I know it's very difficult until you have the call, you don't like put that much amount of effort, but at least jot down your resources, like your last moment resources, what you want to look at. Like if you get an interview call today and you have to appear for the interview in like 3 days, you should have the resources to look at immediately and just like go on with the interview. So another thing is like you've already put in like 2 years of effort, right, into a thing. So it's not like you don't know things. It's there. Like you have the muscle and we have to recall everything and like just revise everything and go and do it. So just keep a note of all the things that you might want to look at based on the positions that you're applying to, and then whenever you get the call or like just start preparing for it.
That answers. Yeah, thank you very much. Congratulations.
I'll contribute a little bit over there. So, whether interview reaches you out to you, then and you are not prepared. First mistake is that you are not prepared, right? You should have been prepared, and this happens with a lot of students. They ask me in the batches that, okay, I don't feel prepared. So it's because the mistake is done that we didn't focus on the interview prep than we should have. That's why we are late. One aspect is this one. Another one is once we have done the mistake, now we have to overcome this mistake. Don't think miracles to happen. She has been putting 2 years of effort, and then she can be ready in 5 days. Others cannot. Most of the students cannot. Within 15, 20 days, I see a lot of students. They keep procrastinating about interview preparation or do their efforts. I have projects, I have assignments, blah blah. Then they get an interview call. I have an interview call after 1 month. Can you prepare me in 1 month? Doesn't happen. Even with the professional help, I know that they have lost it. Right? If you are preparing 15 days or 20 days before the interview, 90% of the chances you will not be making it. If you are starting to prepare, or you should be, preparing from last 2 years, then it will be, she can wake up and give the interviews. It's not 5 days are also not required. So the first mistake that the students do, or the genesis of this question is actually that we have not prepared for the interviews at the right time. Now the students are becoming very, very ambitious. You need to see the kind of ecosystem that you are living in. Somebody is preparing from 2 years. What chances do you have against them, right? So good or bad, but this is the way. If you see the trend also, we are in F30 from data wise also, we are getting the students who are more into first term, and we have right now in the coming batch, in the April batch or in the March batch or the May batch, we have already have those students who have not even tried MS and they are studying size one, right? For the interview condition. So this happens. So it has to be done. Anybody else? Anybody, you had a question? You had unmuted yourself. Anybody else?
No, actually, it was an accident. Sorry.
Okay, well. Shreya has a question. Sorry, I forgot. Shreya, go ahead. And that this is a question for all the undergraduate students.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask that is it possible to get farm offers for UG students like our masters would be more preferable for applying, before applying those farm companies or positions?
I think you can answer it.
What?
Like you can answer it better.
I will contribute, but you are the one. What's your perspective on this?
I think that should be a barrier. Like according to me, that should not be a barrier. That's what I noticed. I have 3 years of experience with help in getting me any calls, but what does help is what you know. Like even if you are an undergrad, how much do you know? How much effort have you put? I have worked with an undergrad student here who got offer before me. So she applied to a PhD position also and she got through. She applied to a couple of jobs also and she got like 2 offers before me. So it depends on how much amount of work you have done. And what I have noticed is like they would probably offer if an undergrad student is exceptional, which is rare. So they offer these because masters you would still expect like people to know like the math behind things. But if an undergrad student shows that kind of ability, or those kind of projects, those kind of projects, then probably will give you an edge over other students, which other undergrad students might not have. So yeah, I would say that you have a pretty good chance of standing out.
I completely agree with Daman over here, Shreya. So I think it is tougher to get the interview calls. If I know the master students have tough time, especially last year because of COVID. They had a very tough time to get even the one interview call. That's why you have to be really prepared even for one or two interview calls that you get an offer like that. We have Shazwan, right? Shazwan is always active. He's at Microsoft. He's been teaching at us. He's an undergraduate. He's going to graduate this year, right? So getting an interview call is difficult, but after that it is your show. If you are prepared, like anything, then you can rock it. Anything. It's even it's for seasoned engineers. It is very they feel very happy when they see the undergraduate students. They are killing it in data structure. They are literally killing it in the data structure, and they are like, I want it, I want it. Right? So that kind of situation is going to be there. So don't worry about those things that whether you are undergraduate or graduate. Once you get an interview call, it's your show. Nobody cares whether you are in master's or masters. But that's it. That's it. Right? So you're fine. All right, Shantanu. Shantanu is asking, becoming an interviewer at S30 was helpful or not?
Yeah, I've already spoken about this to you, so I think that was really helpful for me, especially because I come from the COVID period when I was supposed to actually graduate last year, but I had to move my graduation all the way to spring 2021 just because I didn't have a job, and I was not even in that zone to actually give my exam. So I would say looking at other students, I came to know about the mistakes that they made, and it really helped me build a path for me. Like, okay, these are the common mistakes these people make, and that's what I keep telling everybody. I think Shreya, I passed on some guidelines to you as well. These are the things you should follow during interviews. So I think those things really help. Like looking at other students, these are the common mistakes. These are the common things that you should avoid, and these are the good things that the other person is doing. So you can really look upon them and get inspiration from them also.
That's amazing. I still remember somebody was sharing with me that when somebody was when he was telling me that I was interviewing a student and then she made this mistake, and I was not like that she's making a mistake. I was like, I do the same thing. I do the same thing. Is this what I look like in the interview? So that kind of aha moments that I've been doing the same mistake. All right, guys, that's it. We can have a number of questions. If anybody has one last question, then we can entertain that. But I think it's already over almost 1 hour. We should be giving a break to that. Anybody last questions? Last questions? None? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you explain bias against trade-off?
No, not really. Fine. Like teaching about that.
I have article on Medium if you want to go and look at. That's the only data science article I wrote, and it's on bias and variance.
Please do share it with us in the general channel, and I'll share it with them. Okay, you can share it with them.
Hey, I just joined late. I just wanted to know where is the interview currently working at?
Sorry.
Where are you currently working at? I just joined late, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm currently working as an intern at a startup which is called but I'm soon going to join Microsoft.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
All right. All right, guys, that's it. Bye-bye. Have fun. Thank you so much for joining in, Daman. Thank you so much for coming in as the fireside speaker. And I hope a lot of students get motivated. I still remember you were in the audience a couple of months back, and it's such a privilege as an instructor for me to see you on the other side and mentoring this. Thank you so much, and it's such a great inspiration to have.
Thank you to S30 here. Like I feel I think like most of the interviews that I could crack was just because I took S30 and had a very strategic preparation. So that strategic preparation actually helped me even in my data science prep because I knew like what were the mistakes I was doing there. So yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity.
So thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye. Have fun. Ciao. Hey everybody, so today we are very lucky to have not one, not two, but four engineers who are working at the top tech companies, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and the best thing about all three of them right now, we might be joined by Chennai also. She is also part of the group. The name of the group is Thousand Trees, and all of the engineers that we'll be introducing have been students at study, and they are create mentors right now for each and everybody. I'm so thankful to you guys that you have been mentoring a lot of great students at study. So let me introduce one by one. I'm just going to give you the name and then I would request all the engineers to just begin with just a short introduction about that. So first one among the group is Darshan Nigadi, and he is from Microsoft. Darshan, if you can introduce yourself a bit.
Sure. Yeah, so I was in this cohort with Shazman. I think it was the best cohort I could be in. I enjoyed, being at S30, attending the classes, and then right before I completed my cohort, I had an offer. Not one, but three different offers. It was a really nice